Have you ever looked at your bank balance halfway through the month and thought, wait a second, where did all that money go? You haven't taken a trip, you haven't splurged on anything fancy, and yet the numbers don't add up. I've heard this so many times from friends over 60 good, smart people who have always been careful with their money, but still, they find themselves scratching their heads, wondering how their retirement savings seem to be slowly, quietly, slipping away. And let me tell you something you may not expect. That's usually not because of one big mistake. It's not the one-time vacation or buying a new TV for the grandkids. More often, it's the little things. The tiny habits, the quiet charges, the things we don't even notice until they've added up to hundreds, sometimes thousands over time. That's the tricky part, because when money goes out in drips and drops, it doesn't raise alarm bells. Until we're suddenly short at the end of the month. You might be doing everything right, you planned, you saved, you're living within your means, but still, you wonder, why does it feel like it's never quite enough? That's what we're going to talk about today, not with judgment, not with panic, just a gentle conversation between friends, because these habits are more common than you think. And the good news is, they're fixable. With just a little awareness and a few small tweaks, you can stop the leaks and feel more in control of your money again. So today we're going to walk through 5 everyday habits that might be quietly draining your savings, things like those sneaky subscriptions or the just-in-case storage unit you haven't opened in years. I'll share stories from real folks, people just like you, and simple steps you can take starting today to keep more of your money where it belongs with you. And look, if any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. The goal here isn't to feel bad, it's to feel empowered. You worked hard for your retirement. You deserve to enjoy it without worry, without guilt, and without that gnawing feeling that something's slipping through the cracks. Before we dive in, if you find this helpful or comforting in any way, I'd love for you to support this channel, Vibrant Elders. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe share your thoughts in the comments. What's something you've noticed about your spending habits lately? You never know, your story could help someone else feel less alone too. Now, let us take a closer look at the first habit that might be eating into your savings without you even realizing it. Let me show you what I mean. Number 1, unused subscriptions and auto-pay services. Jack from North Carolina shared something with me that really stuck. He said, I signed up for HBO Max when the grandkids were visiting last summer, and I forgot all about it. A year later, I realized I'd spent almost $200 and I only used it once. And you know what? Jack's not alone. Stories like his pop up all the time. These days, it's easier than ever to sign up for something online, and way too easy to forget we ever did back in the day. You'd have to go out of your way to subscribe to something, fill out a form, write a check, mail it in now. One click, and just like that, you've got a new streaming service, magazine, or even a meditation app quietly pulling from your bank account every single month. It's not just TV. I've seen folks unknowingly pay for 3 music apps at once: Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, because each one got used for a short while, then forgotten. Others have monthly charges for cloud storage, software they no longer use, or newsletters they didn't even know they signed up for. $10 here, 12 there. It doesn't sound like much, but over a year, it adds up quickly. The first step to fixing this is awareness. I always suggest sitting down with a nice cup of tea and looking through your most recent bank and credit card statements. Not just for big expenses, but for the little recurring ones. Ask yourself, do I still use this? Do I even remember signing up? Am I getting value from this? Once you've spotted a few, go ahead and cancel what no longer serves you. Most subscriptions will let you cancel online, though they don't always make it easy. Sometimes you have to dig around the settings or call a number. But let me tell you, the feeling of trimming away those unnecessary charges, it's liberating. You're not being cheap, you're being smart. Jack ended up canceling 3 services he never used, saving over $300 a year, he told me. That's $300 I didn't have to think about anymore, and now I put it toward our grocery budget. It makes a real difference. It's not about giving up things that bring you joy. If you truly enjoy Netflix or your favorite music app, by all means, keep it. This isn't about cutting back to the bone. It's about shining a light on those invisible drains, the ones we forget are even there. Think of it like spring cleaning for your finances. You wouldn't keep paying rent on a storage unit you forgot you had, so why pay for digital clutter? Sometimes just being more aware makes us feel more in control. And that sense of control, that calm confidence, can go a long way in helping you feel secure in retirement. And that's exactly what you deserve. Let's keep going. There's another quiet habit many folks overlook that might be costing you more than you think. Number 2, holding on to idle assets. Earl and Donna had a second car sitting in their driveway for nearly 3 years. It was a silver sedan they once used regularly, but after retiring, they found themselves driving the other one most of the time. Still, they kept that extra vehicle just in case. Just in case the other one broke down, just in case the grandkids needed a ride, just in case. Well, you know how that goes. It wasn't tea until they had a heart-to-heart with their financial advisor that they realized that second car was quietly draining nearly $800 a year in insurance and maintenance. That's not even counting registration, unexpected repairs, or the emotional weight of owning something they didn't use. When they finally decided to sell it, they didn't just free up space in the driveway. They booked that weekend getaway they'd been putting off for years, and you could hear the excitement in their voices when they talked about it. This is more common than you think. Maybe for you it's not a car. Maybe it's a storage unit you've had since the kids moved out, filled with boxes you haven't opened in a decade, or a timeshare that used to bring joy but now feels like more obligation than fun. Whatever the case, these idle assets can become emotional anchors, things we hold on to out of habit, memory, or that old familiar phrase, "What if I need it someday?" But here's the thing, holding on to something just in case might be costing you right now. Not just in dollars, but in peace of mind, space, and freedom. That storage unit, it could be costing you $100 a month or more. A timeshare with annual fees could be eating up hundreds, even thousands, every year. And for what? For the slim chance that one day, maybe you'll need it again? Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing what truly serves you today. In this chapter of life, not what used to fit years ago, downsizing, in many ways, is not about having less. It's about making room for more of what matters. More breathing room, more savings, more freedom to say yes to things that bring you joy now. I spoke to a woman named Sharon who finally cleaned out her storage unit after realizing she hadn't visited in 6 years. She found old baby furniture, college textbooks, and winter coats from the 90s. After donating what she could and selling a few items, she saved herself nearly $1,200 a year and felt like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. So, if there's something in your life quietly collecting dust and costing money, ask yourself, what's the real value of keeping it? And what could letting it go open up for you? It's your retirement. You've earned the right to live it on your terms without unnecessary baggage. And sometimes the most powerful step is simply choosing to let go now. Let us talk about something even more personal where generosity meets our wallets in ways we often don't talk about. Number 3, overhelping adult children and grandkids. Marianne didn't think twice when her daughter asked for help paying rent during a tough divorce. Of course she said yes. A mother's instinct is to protect, to provide. It was just supposed to be a few months, Marianne told me. But then a few months turned into a year, then 3, and suddenly I was dipping into my savings more often than I wanted to admit. This isn't about blame if you've helped your kids or grandkids. Financially, you're far from alone. In fact, many retirees quietly give regular support covering cell phone bills, buying groceries, helping with car repairs, even co-signing on loans. And it's done out of deep love. You want to see your family thrive. But sometimes, in trying to carry them, we begin to sink ourselves. What starts as a temporary act of support can easily become a quiet pattern, and before you know it, you're adjusting your own life just to make ends meet, skipping things you enjoy, putting off home repairs, even feeling anxious about unexpected expenses. That's not the retirement you worked for. The tricky part? It's hard to say no when you love someone. You don't want to seem selfish. You don't want to create tension. But here's something I hope you'll remember. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're choosing long-term stability for both of you. One woman I spoke with, Linda from Oregon, started writing gift checks instead of sending regular payments. She'd write one-time amounts with notes like, "Just thinking of you," or "Hope this helps you get through the month? That small shift made a big difference. It changed the tone, it set a limit, and it allowed her to be generous without compromising her own well-being. Other folks I know have started open conversations with their families. It can be as simple as, I want to help, but I also need to make sure I don't outlive my money. Let's talk about what's possible. These conversations aren't always easy, but they are powerful, and more often than not, your loved ones will understand, especially when they realize you're coming from a place of care. Not criticism. You've already raised your kids, you've done the hard work, and being generous doesn't mean being financially stretched thin. In fact, the best gift you can give your family might be your own peace of mind, that you're financially okay, not a burden, living independently, and able to enjoy this chapter of life. If this resonates with you, please know you're not alone. So many retirees give quietly and sometimes give more than they can afford, but it's never too late to take a step back, breathe, and ask, what's sustainable? What's fair to me? Your money, your time, your heart, they all have value, and protecting your resources doesn't make you less loving. It simply means you're honoring everything you've worked for. Now, let's explore another subtle habit, one that's tied more to emotion than generosity. Number 4, emotional and impulse spending. Richard, a retired teacher from Ohio, told me something that made me pause. I didn't think I was spending that much, he said. Just little things here and there, online tools for the garden, books, a new coffee gadget. It made the days feel less empty. But when he finally added it up, he'd spent over $2,000 in 6 months. Half the boxes were still unopened. This kind of spending doesn't come from greed. It comes from feelings, from boredom, from loneliness, from wanting something to look forward to, and that's completely human after retirement. The rhythm of life changes. There are more quiet hours, fewer deadlines, and sometimes a strange emptiness that shopping seems to fill, if only for a moment. Retailers know this. They make it easy, one-click ordering, flash sales, just for you, deals in your inbox, and when you're having a slow afternoon, it's tempting to browse. Sometimes we don't even realize we're shopping emotionally until we're unpacking something we don't really need. But here's the good news. Becoming aware of it doesn't mean you have to stop enjoying yourself. It just means you start asking one simple question before clicking buy. Am I shopping for joy or for distraction? One woman I met, Janice, started keeping a small notebook next to her laptop. Every time she felt the urge to shop online, she'd jot down what she was thinking or feeling. I'm bored, it's raining, I miss my sister. Just that little pause helped her catch the real emotion behind the impulse. She didn't judge herself, she just got curious, and guess what? That notebook saved her hundreds. She started calling a friend when she felt lonely, taking a walk when she was restless, or spending time in her garden when she needed to clear her mind. Shopping didn't have to be the answer anymore. If this sounds like you, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just responding to your emotions the best way you know how, but with a bit of mindfulness, you can find new ways to feel good, ways that don't nibble away at your savings. Instead of buying something new, maybe join a local book club, or volunteer at the senior center, or plan a small treat with a friend, a lunch out, a movie, a drive to the lake. These moments of connection often last longer and mean more than anything that arrives in a box. Emotional spending is one of those habits that sneaks up quietly, but with awareness and a few small changes, you can keep your finances and your heart right where they belong. And speaking of heart, there's one more habit we need to talk about. It's one I see in many wise, careful folks who've saved all their lives only to forget one important thing: that it's okay to enjoy your money too. Number 5, not asking for senior discounts or comparing prices. Frank, a retiree from Arizona, told me he'd been paying full price for internet service for over 3 years until his grandson came to visit and happened to ask, "Grandpa, don't they have a senior plan?" Turns out the company did, and Frank had missed out on nearly $360 in savings just because no one ever mentioned it, and he never thought to ask. That's more common than you might think. All across the country, older adults are spending more than they need to, not because they're careless, but because they've simply never gotten into the habit of asking if there's a better deal. Many of us grew up in a time when prices were fixed, negotiations were rare, and discounts were For clearance racks, not for age, but times have changed. These days, there are senior discounts hiding in plain sight. Grocery stores, pharmacies, movie theaters, restaurants, utility companies, internet providers, insurance companies, you name it. But here's the catch. Most of these savings aren't automatic. You have to ask. You have to raise your hand and say, hey, do you have a senior rate? Some folks feel uncomfortable doing that. Maybe it feels awkward. Maybe they don't want to make a fuss, but let me gently remind you, this isn't charity. These discounts exist because you've earned them, you've worked, contributed, paid taxes, raised families, served communities. These perks are a small thank you, and they're yours to claim. Clara, a 68-year-old from Michigan, was paying nearly $160 a month for car insurance. After a friend mentioned a defensive driving course for older adults, she signed up 2 hours online. A few quiz questions, and just like that, her insurance premium dropped by almost $40 a month. That's over $450 a year. Saved with one afternoon of effort, or take something even simpler. A friend of mine always asks at the counter, any senior discount today? Whether she's picking up lunch, buying movie tickets, or filling a prescription. She asks with a smile. More often than not, she gets a yes, and she's saved hundreds over the course of a year. Just by speaking up. It's not just discounts. Either, some communities offer energy bill assistance, home repair programs, and even free tax filing help for folks over 60. But if you don't know to look, it's easy to miss out. That's why I always recommend, once or twice a year, sit down and review your regular expenses. Make a few phone calls, ask questions. You might be surprised at what's available to you. This small habit, just asking, can have a big impact. Not only on your wallet, but on how empowered you feel. In your daily life, you're not being pushy, you're being proactive. So next time you're at the register or on the phone with a service provider, don't be shy. Try this simple line. Do you offer a senior rate? That one question could put money back in your pocket, money you can use for something that truly brings you joy. And now, as we reflect on all 5 habits, let's take a moment to tie it all together and leave you with a message of encouragement and confidence. You've taken the time today to sit with these small but powerful insights, and that's something worth celebrating. Because awareness isn't just the first step toward financial peace, it's the biggest one. Most people don't lose their savings because of one big mistake. It's the quiet leaks, the unnoticed habits, the things we forget to check or never thought to question, and now you're already a step ahead. Maybe today's video helped you recognize a subscription you've been meaning to cancel. Or maybe it reminded you of that storage unit you haven't opened in 5 years. Maybe you saw yourself in the quiet generosity of helping family, or the little purchases that sneak in during slower days. Or maybe it was that last one that hit home. The realization that you might be missing out on senior discounts just because no one told you to ask. Whatever it was, you're not alone. So many retirees are in this same boat, doing their best. Staying thoughtful, stretching every dollar, but quietly giving away more than they realize. But here's the good news. None of these habits are fixed. Every one of them can be changed. Gently and gradually, with just a little intention. You don't need to overhaul your life, just start with one thing. Cancel one charge, make one phone call, ask one question at the register. That's all it takes to start shifting your financial foundation towards something steadier, stronger, and more empowering. And more than anything, remember this. You are allowed to advocate for yourself, to ask, to check, to claim what you're entitled to. That's not being demanding. That's being wise. You've lived long enough to know that being quiet sometimes costs you, and being confident, even in small ways, can change everything. So, as you move forward, I hope you carry this with you. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're right on time to make choices that honor your effort, your wisdom, and your future. If something in today's conversation struck a chord, I invite you to share it in the comments. Maybe there's a tip you've used that could help someone else, or maybe you just want to say, that one hit home. Either way, your words matter, and someone else might find comfort in them. And if this video helped you, even just a little, I hope you'll support this growing community at Vibrant Elders. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and consider sharing this with a friend. We're all in this together, learning and growing with every season of life. You don't need more money to feel more secure. You need clarity, intention, a little confidence, and maybe a reminder that you're doing better than you think. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind to yourself, and don't be afraid to ask for the discount. You've earned it.